All right, good evening. I'm Columbus City Council Member Elizabeth Brown. I would like to welcome you to the Education Committee's hearing on Early Start Columbus. Early Start Columbus is the city's initiative to expand high-quality pre-kindergarten for children in Columbus. Tonight we will hear from the Director of Education, Rhonda Johnson, and the department's policy advisor, Hosanna Tekia, as well as several community members and educators. As the chair of the Education Committee, I know that the education of our children is the responsibility of all of us in Columbus, not just our educators on their own. I also know, as chair of the Economic Development Committee, that access to high-quality education is as much about today's children as it is about tomorrow's economic growth. Providing a world-class education from the youngest age helps our city attract and retain businesses who depend on a high-quality workforce. But too often, the zip code a child is born into is the most determining factor in the success that a child will see later in life, from health to educational attainment to income potential. At-risk children and those from low-income backgrounds who lack access to quality early learning experiences are more likely to be involved in violent crime, get arrested, or face incarceration down the road. That is why investing in high-quality early education is so critical. It ensures that all children enter kindergarten ready to learn, leveling the playing field to give them an equal chance at lifelong success and prosperity. So thank you again for being here, and I'd like to start with Director Johnson to please offer remarks.
Thank you, Chair Brown, and thank you for the opportunity to present our program to you tonight. I appreciate your support so much. Mayor Ginther's vision is universal access to high-quality pre-kindergarten for every 4-year-old in Columbus. Because most brain development occurs before age 5, we know that kids who participate in a high-quality pre-kindergarten education program are more likely to enter kindergarten ready to learn. They are more likely able to read on grade level by 3rd grade and more likely to graduate from high school. Studies show that these students become adults who are more educated and earn more over their lifetime. For every dollar spent on early childhood education, the return on investment ranges from $7 to $10 because those students will be self-sufficient, they will need less interventions, will not be part of the justice system, less likely to use drugs or become teen parents. Low-income kids especially benefit from pre-kindergarten education. Often children who live in poverty lack the experiences in their homes and neighborhoods that provide them with the resources they need to be on track and stay on track. Pre-K levels the playing field for them so that they can have equity with their peers. This will be the 3rd year of our pre-K expansion program, Early Start Columbus. With the support of City Council, we have served more than 1,000 kids over the last 2 years. This year, through collaborative partnerships and using our funds more efficiently, we plan to serve more kids than ever. But most importantly, we will make sure our kids get the best pre-K education. We will only support high-quality providers, and helping our providers improve their quality is crucial to our goal. Therefore, we are requiring and providing funding for high-quality professional development. To reduce teacher retention and provide stability for our families and students, we are requiring providers to pay their teachers professional wages that are comparable to their peers in the Columbus City schools. We cannot reach our goal of high-quality pre-K by simply funding pre-K slots. We must also help our providers increase the quality of their programs by increasing the quality of their staff. I'd like to ask Hosanna Tekia, Education Policy Advisor and architect of this year's program, to discuss program specifics. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great. Hosanna Tekia.
Good evening, Councilmember Brown. The City of Columbus Department of Education will release $4.7 million in grants for eligible pre-kindergarten providers to expand high-quality pre-kindergarten to 4-year-olds living in the Columbus School District through Early Start Columbus this week. An investment in early childhood pre-kindergarten for disadvantaged children helps prevent achievement gaps, reduces the need for special education, increases the likelihood of healthier lifestyles, lowers the crime rate, and reduces the overall societal costs. Established in 2014, Early Start Columbus provided funding to high-quality pre-kindergarten providers to expand access to Columbus children and to provide support for families. Early Start Columbus has expanded the positive trajectory of educational attainment by providing 4-year-olds with a complete experience that ensures academic excellence in schools, inspiring students to develop a love for learning and becoming contributing members of society. With respect to the expansion of quality early childhood education, the Department of Education's goal is that by 2020, all children living in Columbus City School Districts should be ready to enter kindergarten, ready to learn. And every child whose parent chooses to do so should have access to a high-quality pre-kindergarten experience. After listening to feedback received from the early learning community, stakeholders, we will be braiding funding to meet the 2020 goal to ensure that every 4-year-old is ready for kindergarten. We've listened to providers, families, and stakeholders at every implementation of Early Start Columbus to provide the best service for our residents. Over the past 2 years, we have made significant changes to the application, requirements, and program to ensure we invest in our children wisely. In 2016, the application will align resources and funding for the greatest maximization of city funds while ensuring quality in our programs. Because pre-kindergarten is viewed as childcare or as an incentive for workforce, we do not currently have a dedicated stream of dollars that are allocated for pre-kindergarten across the state of Ohio, except for early childhood expansion, which only funds half-day programs. The state of Ohio's Early Childhood Expansion Program has made changes in its 2016 funding that will now allow for wraparound funding with publicly funded childcare, and we're excited about this opportunity for our children to be able to experience a full day of high-quality pre-kindergarten, so that the experience that so many of our working families deserve. While we work to identify an efficient, sustainable model for universal access to pre-kindergarten, we must, however, access all current dollars that are available within the system. Braiding dollars with publicly funded childcare, early childhood expansion, and Early Start Columbus will allow the funding sources to remain visible while they are used to create greater strength, efficiency, and effectiveness. We know that PFCC, publicly funded childcare, and early childhood expansion dollars alone do not pay for indicators that contribute to high-quality experiences, like full-day experience, teachers with a bachelor or master's degree in early childhood education, smaller teacher-student ratios, continuing professional development, and access to supportive services for families. These coordinated pre-kindergarten funds will now be joined into a comprehensive service package so that providers can invest in high-quality pre-kindergarten programs that result in a more inclusive setting for all and results for our children. Previously, Early Start Columbus reimbursement rates ranged from $4,000 to $14,300 per year for a child based on the provider's level of quality through Step Up to Quality rating system. And we contracted to serve 500 children for a total of nearly $4 million. With the changes in the 2016 Early Start Columbus reimbursement rates, the ranges will be from $850 to $10,000 per year for a child based on their provider's level of quality through the Step Up to Quality rating system, and we'll be able to serve at least 800 children. Providers are now welcome to apply, and information is available on the Columbus Department of Education's website, which is columbus.gov/education. And eligible applicants will be reviewed by a grant review committee they must meet the following criteria. They must be a currently licensed program that's located in the city of Columbus, rated through ODE or ODJFS by July 1st, 2016, with a 3, 4, or 5 star rating or a local education authority or a NACE rating. They must serve 4-year-old children who live in Columbus City School District during the school year, with families whose income fall within 300% of the federal poverty level. And providers must accept publicly funded childcare and, if eligible, apply and accept early childhood expansion grants. Additionally, providers are welcome to attend our technical assistance meeting this coming Tuesday, April 11th, at the Jerry Hammond Building, located at 1111 East Broad Street. They will need to RSVP to enter into the building, as it is a secured building, but the event is free, and they can do so by visiting our website, which is columbus.gov/education. At this time, I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you so much. So first, you did mention that the application period is open. You're accepting applications. How long? When does the application period close?
It closes on April 29th, at 5 p.m.
Okay, great. So I want to, first of all, thank you for all of the work that you've done to get Early Start Columbus off the ground. And specifically, I've seen the application changes that you've made, and I want to compliment you on how responsive that you have been to providers when you've heard, this actually doesn't make sense, and you've made tweaks, and you've improved the application so it's easier for providers to answer and to step up and to be a part of the program. So thank you for the hard work that I know that takes. Actually, in the last 7 days, I have been at 2 different preschools, and it is, there is a wide range of need in Columbus, and I know that we are taking methodical steps to get there to address the huge need that is there. A couple things that I want to bring up from the community. One thing I'd like to hear your position on is why we are funding 4-year-olds and not 3-year-olds. Could you help explain that to those who are listening at home and watching?
Councilmember Brown, one of the recommendations from the Columbus Education Commission was to provide a high-quality pre-kindergarten experience for 4-year-olds in Columbus. So so we're fulfilling that recommendation that came, and of course, the issue is funding. What can we fund? And so we're beginning with 4-year-olds. We know that it's important for children who live in poverty to have 2 years of preschool, but that's not something that the city can afford to do, and the state, Ohio Department of Education, is actually moving away and making sure that they're providing the high quality experience for the year prior to entering kindergarten. And so that's, with limited resources, the state and the city is moving towards the 4-year-olds, but certainly we understand the need for 3-year-olds to also have that experience. What we're hoping to do at some point is, as expansion for 4-year-olds grows in Columbus City Schools or with other providers, that Head Start can take up more of the 3-year-olds, and then others can serve 4-year-olds. So we're hoping as that expansion happens, that others will take the 3-year-olds as well and have more spaces.
That makes sense. I hear from you that it's we do believe that 3-year-old education is important. It's a matter of doing what we can with the dollars we have right now. So along those lines, actually, another question I've gotten from the community. I was recently at the Westland Area Commission, and I spoke a couple things I'd like to ask based off that meeting. I spoke with residents there who want to participate in Early Start, and they are one of the areas that don't have huge capacity, don't have a lot of star-rated providers in that area. So how are we getting out into the community and trying to, I know we have partners too, it's not just the City of Columbus by ourselves. So if it's not us, who is out there partnering with us to make sure we're helping providers get their star rating so that then they're eligible to apply and be a part of our process?
Councilmember Brown, we don't think there's enough work being done in that area because there's going to be a requirement in 2020 and then in 2025 that all providers who participate and accept publicly funded childcare will have to be star rated and at least 3-star rated. So that's a huge concern of mine is the capacity. What's going to happen if 2025 happens and they all of a sudden don't have star ratings and publicly funded child care dollars are available and children have nowhere to go? It's a huge concern for me. I think that the county could do more. I know that in Cleveland, there is work done in actually Cuyahoga County where they give quality grants to providers to help them to be able to meet the Step Up to Quality requirements. The best way and the fastest way to get to a 4-star rating is to have a teacher with a bachelor's degree in the program. That's the most important. Having been an educator, that I know that that's the most important factor in a child's education is the quality of the teacher in the classroom. But because publicly funded childcare doesn't pay enough for providers to pay them, then it's just doubly hard for them to be able to do that. It's just not enough dollars there. Mm-hmm. But I know that Action for Children does some work around helping build capacity and even working with Future Ready Columbus. Sandy Miller, who works at Future Ready Columbus, has done some coaching through some grants through Future Ready Columbus. So it's an issue. And as we think about, and I said in my remarks, we want to move more towards building capacity as opposed to building slots. Right. Because we can build slots, but if kids have nowhere to go because we don't have capacity, then it's not the right work.
I appreciate that focus, Director Johnson. Thank you. One last thing I wanted to ask before we move on to our speakers who are here, community members who've come to speak, is, I do hear from residents in our city, again, this was something the Westland Area Commission brought up, that they live in the city of Columbus, but they don't live in the Columbus City schools. And right now, our funding goes towards kids who live in Columbus City schools. So can you talk about whether you see us getting to a place where we're able to work with Columbus residents who are in other school districts as well? Just sort of comment on that.
Yes, as we're working through, Councilmember Brown, as we're working through what we're doing with Early Start Columbus, we're hoping to be able to serve every child because Mayor Ginther's goal, his vision is to serve every child in Columbus, not just every child in Columbus City schools. But the recommendation from the commission was around specifically the challenges that face children living in Columbus City schools. So we need to be able to serve all of our residents. And I know that Mayor Ginther is also concerned that even in other school districts, there isn't full-time kindergarten. And so where there isn't full-time kindergarten, what do? We provide a high-quality pre-kindergarten experience, and then there's no kindergarten or a half-day kindergarten. So that's also an issue we need to think about as we lobby our friends in the Ohio legislature about providing full-day kindergarten. There was a requirement, or their former governor insisted that we have this, and actually the suburban school districts were not on point with full-day kindergarten, unfortunately, but that's exactly where we need to be, is providing this for every 4-year-old. And as we go through this process, we're going to figure out what is going to be the sustainable funding model that serves all children living in Columbus, not just Columbus City schools.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Director Johnson and Ms. Tekia. I want to move on to our speakers. And so could we start, please, with Ms. Cynthia Smithers, a pre-K teacher from, yeah, you can just proceed to the podium here. Ms. Smithers is a pre-K teacher from Wyland Park. And thank you so much for being here this evening. And you have 3 minutes, so please proceed.
Well, I want to thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to be here to speak about pre-kindergarten. I've been teaching pre-kindergarten for 18 years in Columbus City Schools. When I started, there were only 5 pre-kindergarten classrooms. Mine was the 6th. My classroom piloted full-day pre-kindergarten. I was the first teacher to have students all day and 5 days a week. I was the first teacher to make sure that parents were allowed to have their students in care all day. And so that made it easier for parents. They didn't have to worry about the other half of the afternoon for their children. But with that growth since that time, we started with only 6 classrooms. We now have 61, which is an amazing amount of growth in that short amount of time. I think that it's really important to have high-quality classrooms, high-quality teachers, and that part is important because when a child is with a teacher that is not as educated with literacy or with mathematics, they may begin to teach children the wrong way, and it's very difficult to unteach some of those things when they're taught incorrectly to begin with. For example, if a child is taught the incorrect way to perform letters, then it becomes harder for that child to learn those bad habits later down the road. Most of our teachers here in Columbus City Schools have either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. I personally have a master's degree, and the other 2 pre-kindergarten teachers in my building also have master's degrees. We have received the accreditation from the National Association for the Education of Young Children in the past. Many of the classrooms in Columbus City Schools went through this process, and I have to say, having gone through the NAEYC accreditation process and the Step Up to Quality process, the NAEYC process was much more rigorous. We have also done the Step Up to Quality. We have received 5 stars at Wyland Park Elementary School, and many of the other programs that have gone through the Step Up to Quality program have received 5 stars as well. Some of the skills that we teach our students are far beyond just colors and shapes, as you might think that happens in a pre-kindergarten classroom. But by the end of the school year, goals for our students are to be able to count to 100, to recognize 3D shapes, a prism, a sphere, a cube, rectangular prism. They have literacy goals where they are expected to understand and learn capital and lowercase letters and all of the sounds that are associated with those letters and how to write those letters as well. We teach them directionality when they're writing, that you start from left and go to the right. We work on high-frequency words or sight words, all of those filler words and sentences, so that when they begin kindergarten, they're more than ready to begin. We work with computer literacy. The students work on computers, they work on iPads, and not just playing games. We have prescribed programs that keep track of where they are on the system and make certain that they move forward. We work with science. We have patterns in nature. We talk about the water cycle, life stages of insects and plant life, seasons. We do multicultural education. There's so many things that happen within our classrooms daily. It's very important, again, to have those high-quality teachers with a high education. The bachelor's degree and the master's degree ensure that those teachers not only have a preliminary understanding of the world around them, but because pre-kindergarten children ask lots of questions, you have to know a lot of things, and it's important to give those questions the correct answers. Because our students, when they finish pre-kindergarten, are so well prepared for kindergarten, they routinely outperform other children who have not had that experience. And more importantly, because of our location within the brick and mortar elementary school, we are, as teachers, are allowed to work with the kindergarten teachers, with the first grade teachers. We are able to completely align our curriculum with that of what is expected of those students, no matter what elementary school they attend in Columbus City Schools. And because of all of that, it translates into success for our students. I have actually attended graduation parties from high school for several of my children. I call them my children because they really are my children. But I've attended graduation parties for them. They come back and visit. I've had students do service hours for high school in the classroom. It's really a great experience, and there is something truly special about the Columbus City Schools pre-kindergarten program that I don't think you have in other places. We all have degrees, we work really hard, and most importantly, we really truly believe in what we're doing.
Thank you so much. If you'll hold on with just 1 minute. I love what you said about children ask a lot of questions, and that reminder that it is really important you have people in the room that can give them correct answers and can answer it in a way that encourages their inquisitiveness. So thank you for what you do as an educator. Councilmember Hardin, do you have any questions you want to ask?
Thank you, Chair Brown. Just want to say thank you for the work you're doing. You are correct. I thought that was neat too when you said the kids asked the appropriate, or the questions, and having answers that are both stimulating to encourage more conversation and more thoughtfulness, but be able to answer in the right ways is so important. And the fact that you said that you have students that are graduating, I was like, she must be saying graduating middle school or kindergarten. But the fact that you've been doing this work for that many years is certainly appreciated in our community.
Thank you very much. I actually have a board of photographs in my classroom of the students when they were in pre-K, and I've begun to line their graduation announcements up next to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming. Next, we have Mr. Phil Hayes, Vice President for the Columbus Education Association. Welcome, Mr. Hayes. And again, a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'll take less than that. Thank you, Chair Brown, Member Hardin, community members. First, I am Phil Hayes. I'm the Vice President of the Columbus Education Association. I'm speaking on behalf of CA President Tracy Johnson, who was unable to join us tonight but wished that she could. And I do want to it was actually, I thought I would go first and I would tell a story by way of introduction. When I met Cynthia Smithers, I was at a meeting of pre-K teachers, but I made the mistake of saying preschool, and she stopped me right there and she said, no, preschool is before school. Pre-K, we are school. So never say preschool, say pre-K. You know, as the Vice President of Columbus Education Association, we represent more than 4,200 competent, caring, and highly qualified professionals, including the many pre-K members of our bargaining unit. And because of the resources that have been provided by Early Start Columbus, these competent, caring, qualified professionals have been able to extend their services to more than 200 additional students this year through the expansion. Roughly 1,000 are being served currently, with hundreds more on the wait list. And one interesting fact is that we have approximately 5,000 kindergarten students, but only 1,000 spaces within the district. So there's a large number of the population within our district that is not being served. And I was able to attend the first meeting of the Joint Education Oversight Committee, which was created by House Bill 64, the budget bill recently. It has equal numbers of House and Senate members. And one of the things they talked about, in addition to funding, teacher quality, too much testing, was pre-K. And that importance of pre-K, and the fact that it's not sustainable with the current funding model, which is largely philanthropic. And so I think that is an opportunity to make policy changes on a state level and showcase the good work that Early Start Columbus is doing here. And so that concludes my testimony, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
So just really as much putting a finer point on what you were saying as it is a question, you pointed out that so much of the funding is philanthropic for pre-K, and that really clarifies the importance that all of us, you know, we're doing this work here today. Department of Education helps to allocate funding to Early Start Columbus, but a big responsibility for all of us who care about pre-K is to continue to lobby the state.
Yes.
To do more.
Yes. Yes.
So is that something that CEA works on regularly?
Yes, lobbying the state is something we do work on regularly, and advocacy for our members and our students and the families of our students, and financial piece is important, because the funding for these additional expansion slots that we have right now that are bringing more of our families into our fold at a younger age expires after the 16-17 school year, and there's no guarantee what the state budget will look like, if it will include the same amount of the grants potential, or if it will include less or none at all. So that's something as a community we must make clear to our legislators, is the importance of quality early pre-K programs and their sustainability and their continuity, so that I can have my younger brothers, my younger sisters go through the same program and get the same services that I do.
Thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and say that for any parents who are watching this, or community members who are watching this and care, contacting your legislator does a lot to raise the level of the conversation and get this in front of legislators, in addition to what you do on a daily basis. So thank you, Mr. Hayes, for
Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify.
All right, our final speaker here tonight is Ms. Charmaine Campbell. If you could make your way to the podium. Ms. Campbell is the principal of Parkmore Elementary. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate your time. And a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Council Chairwoman Brown and members of City Council. My name is Charmaine Campbell, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the principal of Parkmore Elementary School for Columbus City Schools. On behalf of Superintendent Dr. Dan Good and members of our Board of Education, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to City Council, to Mayor Ginther, and to his Education Director, Rhonda Johnson, for investing in the expansion of access to a high-quality pre-kindergarten for more of our city's youngest learners. Currently, we have more than 1,700 students enrolled in our pre-kindergarten programs in Columbus City Schools. However, we still have a waiting list of more than 400 families. One family on the waiting list is too high. We also realize that the need is even greater, especially when you consider that we welcome more than 4,500 kindergarten students to school each year. In fact, this past Monday was the first day parents could register for an appointment in our central enrollment office to sign up for pre-K. In just 2 hours, more than 200 families jumped online to sign up. The pace has yet to slow down. Columbus City Schools was awarded an Early Childhood Education Expansion Grant from the Ohio Department of Education in 2015. The grant offered us the opportunity to offer half-day pre-kindergarten experiences to students. However, the braided dollars from the city allowed us to offer full-day pre-K for up to 300 additional students. That's 330 additional 4-year-olds that will have access to a high-quality full-day pre-kindergarten experience, which lays the foundation for future success in school and in life. Unique to our effort, we have created an expanded inclusion model for pre-K, learning with special needs preschool students and their typically developing peers, learning side by side. We look forward to applying our funds for the coming school year. In fact, Parkmore has benefited greatly from this expansion and the available funds. We now have classrooms that serve 18 pre-K students. We also have an inclusive pre-K classroom where we have 12 special needs students with 8 typical peer students learning side by side. Both pre-K classrooms provide support for the whole child, creating a balance of social, emotional, academic, and physical needs and skills for each young child. With the extra funds, we were able to hire additional staff, purchase more technology, and update classroom materials and resources. Our teachers, building administrators, and parents are excited about this life-changing opportunity. For more information about pre-K expansion, parents can call 614-365-4011 or visit our Central Enrollment Center located on the Fort Hays campus at 430 Cleveland Avenue. In addition, they can visit our website at www.ccsoh.us. In closing, investing in high-quality pre-kindergarten yields benefits for our children, schools, and communities. On behalf of Columbus City Schools, I would like to thank the City of Columbus for their continued partnerships and support as we strive to ensure that each student is highly educated, prepared for leadership and service, and empowered for success as a citizen in a global community. Thank you for your time and consideration. I will be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Thank you, Principal Campbell, for coming down and for the work that you're doing in our schools. Above and beyond, or maybe in addition to our in partnership or in coordination with the support that the city gives for pre-K slots in our city schools, what role in specifically as you as a principal do you think that we can continue to play as a city, but even just as a community, to support schools, principals, teachers, dealing with some of those things you said, the social and emotional things that some of our neighborhoods are in schools are dealing with? Like, how can we be challenged as a community to support you guys as individual principals, schools in your work? And it might be the pre-K program, but are there other ways that we can be engaged to support as well?
I believe City Council can be engaged by being a voice for our students and being a support to the administrators and the teachers, coming in and holding those discussions with teachers and seeing what their needs are so they can be a better advocate for their students and lending those academic, social, and emotional needs. We know the old African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. And so teachers can't do it on their own and parents can't do it on their own. So we need all constituents, all stakeholders that have invested in education to come in and lend a helping hand to our students. That's from pre-K through 12th grade. I see every day parents struggle from single parent homes or even two-parent homes. They're working, but they don't understand the importance of their child getting that strong foundation in pre-kindergarten, and it's needed. It's needed for our children to be ready socially, emotionally, and academically in kindergarten, so they understand the rigorous academic restraints they have when they get to kindergarten because of the Common Core standards. Kindergarten doesn't look like it did in yesteryears. Students are expected to write in kindergarten, they are expected to be able to read, and they're tested 3 times during the year in kindergarten. So you begin this whole assessment piece, so it's important for you all to continue to be a voice, continue to support us financially, and continue to just be there so we know that we have someone we can look to advocate for our students. It's very important for us to have a platform for us to speak. Thank you.
I know that the studies show that children who are given quality pre-K, have quality pre-K available to them, achieve more later in life. But I wonder, as you're later in schooling, I wonder, as your perspective as a principal, what you hear from your teachers, you know, even your 5th grade teachers, about what the children who had access to pre-K achieve at the 5th grade level.
Definitely. When a child has access to education at the pre-K level, they automatically excel from kindergarten to 1st grade up to 5th grade because they have almost an academic jump start on their counterparts who haven't gone to a pre-kindergarten program. For example, you have some students in kindergarten who've never been in a structured environment, so you have those behavioral issues, you have those maturity issues because they've never been in an environment where they have to listen to the rules, where they have to walk in a straight line, where they have to keep their hands to themselves, and even simple things, taking turns. Everything doesn't belong to you at this point in time. You have to learn to share. So those social skills that are learned in pre-kindergarten, they're very important in order for you to get to that academic piece. So students tend to thrive better in elementary once they get to 5th grade if they've had that pre-kindergarten experience.
Thank you so much again for being here, Ms. Campbell. We really appreciate it, and thank you for what you do to educate our children.
Thank you.
So at this time, I would like to see if there are any other members of the public here to give testimony or comment. Okay. Well, Thank you again to our community speakers who were here. Your words were invaluable. We learned a lot from you, and we appreciate your perspective. Thank you to Director Johnson and to the Department of Education staff. Thank you, Ms. Tekya, for providing us with information about ongoing efforts to expand access to high-quality pre-kindergarten in Columbus. It is clear that Early Start Columbus helps ensure our future by investing in teachers, families, neighborhoods, and most importantly, our kids. So thank you for doing that work. Thank you also to my staff members, Kelsey Ellingson and James Carmine, and to Council's education policy team, Andrew Dyer, our policy advisor, and Mike Kassler, for their assistance in coordinating this meeting. If you are most importantly, if you are interested in becoming an Early Start provider, the Department of Education, as you heard, is accepting applications from now until Friday, April 29th at 5 p.m. Information is online at www.columbus.gov/education. A technical assistance meeting will be held for all interested providers at the Jerry Hammond Building located at 1111 East Broad Street from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Tuesday, April 12th. So if you have any questions about your application and are trying to put together an application that will be accepted, please take advantage of that opportunity on Tuesday, April 12th from 11 to 12. Please RSVP for the event to education@columbus.gov if you're interested in attending. Additionally, parents who are interested in finding pre-kindergarten services, please join the Columbus City Schools and more than 50 community-based providers. Takes a village, right? More than 50 community-based providers at East High School on Saturday, April 16th from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., where you can learn about community-based providers and about the Columbus City Schools who are providing these excellent pre-kindergarten programs. More information on that event can be found at www.columbus.gov/education. Again, I'd just like to close by thanking everyone for being here. Thank you to Councilmember Hardin as well, and to Department of Education staff and Director Johnson. You are doing incredible work.